Hi everybody, this is Shannon. Thanks for joining me on No Shelf Control this evening. I am so glad that you're here. I have the remaining 9 books that were published yesterday on May 16th that I think are exciting and want you to know about. So yesterday we did the first 9 and today we will do the second 9. I think it's a great list and I hope you are looking forward to it. So let's get started. The first one on my list for today is called The Enchanted Hacienda by J.C. Cervantes. It, of course, is published May 16th. All of these books are. It is by Park Row Publishing, and it is 368 pages. And the synopsis says this: from the New York Times bestselling author J.C. Cervantes, The Enchanted Hacienda introduces us to the magical Estrada family. The warmth and humor of The Enchanted Hacienda immediately cast a spell over me. From Katie Hayes, New York Times bestselling author of The Cloisters. When Harlow Estrada is abruptly fired from her dream job and her boyfriend proves to be a jerk, her world turns upside down. She flees New York City to the one place she can always call home, the Enchanted Hacienda Estrada. The Estrada family farm in Mexico houses an abundance of charmed flowers cultivated by Harlow's mother, sisters, aunt, and cousins. By harnessing the magic in these flowers, they can heal hearts, erase memories, interpret dreams. But not Harlow. So when her mother and aunt give her a special task involving the family's magic, she panics. How can she rise to the occasion when she is magicless? But maybe it's not magic she's missing, but belief in herself. When she finally embraces her unique gifts and opens her heart to a handsome stranger, she discovers she's far more powerful than she imagined. With unforeseen twists, romance, and a heavy sprinkle of magic, The Enchanted Hacienda is a captivating coming-of-age debut exploring identity, unconditional family love, and uncovering the magic within all of us. So really excited about this one. I love the coming of age aspect. I love, of course, that it's a debut. But the idea that it's a little bit fantasy, maybe not too much for me. I tend to balk at a lot of fantasy, but this seems like a real life story with a sprinkling of fantasy and magic. And so I think it might be right up my alley, and I think it might be just the ticket for some of you guys as well. So that is The Enchanted Hacienda by J.C. Cervantes. The next one on my list is called Glassworks by Olivia Wolfgang Smith. And it says, an era-spinning marvel of a debut, a dazzling new voice. And those are from C.J. Hauser and Cara Blue Adams as blurbs on the cover. And you've got this interesting piece of stained glass with a B right in the middle. So we'll see what that has to do with the plot line. This one is published by Bloomsbury Publishing, 368 pages. So here's the synopsis. A gorgeously written and irresistibly intimate queer novel that follows one family across 4 generations to explore legacy and identity in all its forms. A Goodreads buzziest debut novel of 2023. In 1910, Agnes Carter makes the wrong choice in marriage. After years as an independent woman of fortune, influential with the board of a prominent university because of her financial donations, she is now subject to the whims of an abusive, spendthrift husband. But when bohemian naturalist and glassblower Ignace Novak reignites Agnes's passion for science, Agnes begins to imagine a different life, and she sets her mind to getting it. Agnes's desperate actions breed secrecy, and the resulting silence echoes into the future. Her son Edward wants to be a man of faith, but struggles with the complexities of the mortal world while apprenticing at a stained glass studio. In 1986, Edward's child Novak, just Novak, is an acrobatic window washer cleaning Manhattan high-rises, who gets caught up in the plight of Cecily, a small-town girl remade as a gender-bending Broadway ingenue. And in 2015, Cecily's daughter Flip, a burned-out stoner trapped in a bureaucratic job, firing cremains into keepsake glass ornaments, resolves to break the cycle of inherited secrets, reaching back through the generations in search of a family legacy that feels true. For readers of Mary Beth Keane, Min-Jin Lee, and Rebecca Makkai, Glassworks is an era-spanning, family and chosen family following marvel of a debut. And that, again, is by C.J. Hauser, author of Family of Origin. So I am loving this description. The 3 different stories, 3 generations, this idea that the characters are not perfect. These are not, we've got a burned out stoner, we've got an acrobatic window washer, and, Agnes Carter, who is taking up with a bohemian naturalist and glassblower. I just think this sounds really, really interesting. And it's also a debut. It was buzziest debut of 2023 from Goodreads. So I am looking forward to this one. It's called Glassworks, and it is out yesterday. So the next one on my list is called The Postcard by Anne Berest. And let's see. This is a cool, picture. It looks like someone from the World War II era, and it's got a canceled postage stamp upside down on the cover. So I think, if I know this correctly, an upside down postage stamp means I love you. I think that's what I've always been told. So we'll see if that plays into the story at all. This is by Europa Editions, and it's 464 pages, so a little bit bigger book. So this synopsis starts with a list of French awards that I can't pronounce that the book has won, but let's just say it's won several awards. Anne Berest's luminous, moving, and unforgettable new novel, The Postcard, is the most acclaimed and beloved French book in recent years. At once a gripping investigation into family secrets, a poignant tale of mothers and daughters, and an enthralling portrait of 20th century Parisian intellectual and artistic life, The Postcard tells the story of how a family devastated by the Holocaust and yet somehow restored by love and the power of storytelling. Heartbreaking, funny, atmospheric, and a sheer joy to read, The Postcard is certain to find fans among the readers of Irene Nemirovsky's Sweet Francais, Kate Atkinson's Life After Life, and Anthony Doerr's All the Light We Cannot See. January 2003. Together with the usual holiday cards, an anonymous postcard is delivered to the Berest family home. On the front, a photo of the Opera Garnier in Paris. On the back, the 4 names of Anne Berest's maternal great-grandparents, Ephraim and Emma, and their children, Naomi and Jacques, all of whom died at Auschwitz in 1942. Almost 20 years after the postcard is delivered, Anne is moved to discover who sent it and why. Aided by her chain-smoking mother, countless family, friends, and associates, a private detective, a graphologist, and many others, she embarks on a journey to uncover the fate of the Rabinovich family, their flight from Russia following the revolution, their journey to Latvia, Palestine, and Paris, the war, and its aftermath. What emerges is a thrilling and sweeping tale that shatters her certainties about her family, her country, and herself. So interesting. I should say first that Tina Cover is the translator on this book. Always give credit to the translator. But this appears to be a true story. This is Anne Berest's story about Anne Berest, not fiction. So I missed that the first time I read this. So that makes this even more exciting to me. Again, set in 2 different time frames. A story of post-World War II, or leading up to World War II, and then the Holocaust. And very interesting, this postcard secret. The postcard shows up at the house with the names of her, grandparents and their children. And she doesn't know why it's there and waits 20 years to try and figure it out. So I'm curious. January 2003 is apparently when she decided to try and figure it out. So I would love to hear this story and can't wait to read this one. The next one is number 13 on my list of the 18 that I have. So only number 4 today. Unladylike Lessons in Love by Anita Murray. And this is a Marley Sisters novel. And it says, sizzling romance with a splash of intrigue. And that's a quote from Julia Quinn. This is by Avon, and it's 320 pages. So Unladylike Lessons in Love. Anita Murray takes us on a journey from the pleasure gardens of society to the dangerous streets of the 19th century London in this spectacular romantic debut by an unforgettable new voice. Women mind their reputation if they want to marry. I don't want to marry. As the eldest daughter of an English earl and his Indian mistress, Lila Marley knows what it's like to be an outsider from polite society. As children, she and her sisters were wrenched from their home and sent to England, never quite accepted by those who claimed to care for them. Now Lila has set herself up as the hostess of an exclusive gaming club, charming the ton that flocks to her establishment each night, though it shuns her by day. One night, Ivor Tristram comes barging through her door, accusing her of being his father's mistress. Lila defies his expectations at every step and convinces him to navigate London's rat pits and pleasure gardens with her in her quest to solve a violent crime. As they set out together to uncover the truth, an irresistible passion ignites that will shake them to the core. Lila must fight to protect those she loves, yet the biggest threat is to the sanctity of the heart she has guarded so carefully all her life. So this sounds really good. A little bit romance, a little bit historical novel, a little bit sort of the dirty underbelly. She's a gaming club proprietress and proprietress, I don't know. And there's a story here, a secret, a mystery that they're going to try to solve, but also a love story. So I love the two aspects of that. And I think that I initially said that the author of this book was Anita Murray. It's actually Amita Murray. So probably an Indian name. And also there is some Indian history in this book in that the Lila Marley is the daughter of an English earl and his Indian mistress. So I screwed that up when I first read it, but please let that stand corrected. The next one on my list is called Banana Ball by Jessie Cole, the unbelievably true story of the Savannah Bananas by Jessie Cole with Dawn Yeager. This is published by Dutton, and it's 272 pages, and it looks like a whole lot of fun. The Savannah Bananas have peeled back the game of baseball and made it fun again. This is their story. For his entire childhood, Jessie Cole dreamed of pitching in the majors. Now he has a life in baseball that only he could have imagined. He met the love of his life in the industry. They shaped Savannah, Georgia's professional team into the league champion Savannah Bananas, and now the Bananas have restyled baseball itself into something all their own. Banana Ball. Fast, fun, and outrageously entertaining, Banana Ball brings fans right into the game. The Bananas throw out a first banana rather than a ball. Their first base coach dances to Thriller or Britney between innings. Players run into the crowd to hand out roses. The ticket is food all-inclusive. And the rules themselves are bananas. If a fan catches a foul ball, it's an out, and players might go to bat on stilts or wearing a banana costume. And their fans absolutely love it. But the reason this team is on the forefront of a movement is less about the play on the field and more about the atmosphere that the team culture creates. For the first time in this book, Jessie reveals the ideas and experiences that allowed him to reimagine America's oldest sport by creating a phenomenon that is helping fans fall in love with the game all over again. This is a story that's bigger than baseball and bigger than the yellow tuxedo Jessie wears as the ringmaster of every game. And to understand the movement, you have to understand the story at its core. In Jessie's telling, it takes heart, creativity, joy, and a bit of tropical fruit to make something wholly original out of one of America's great traditions. His story is part Moneyball, part Field of Dreams, part The Greatest Showman. It is a personal story, a creativity story, and the story of a business scrapping for every success. And it has several distinct love stories. Love stories like Jesse and his father, Jesse and his wife, the team and the sport of baseball, the team and the fans. This is Jesse calling his dad from the outfield after each Bananas game and putting unending creativity into a team with the ultimate goal of bringing the Bananas to the professional ballparks he himself never got to play in. This is his story of baseball, love, leadership, and going just a bit bananas for all. So I grew up in a baseball family, and this just sounds adorable. I am so excited to read about Jesse's story, to read about the Savannah Bananas. I had never even heard of this. Now, we have minor league baseball here in Columbus, and we had minor league baseball in RTP when I lived in North Carolina, the Durham Bulls, of course. But I didn't know about Banana Ball, and having loved baseball my whole life, this, I think, is going to be a great story, just because it's nonfiction, it's a memoir, but it's also the story of baseball. So I'm really looking forward to this one. This list today is just incredible, so I hope that you will enjoy these books as well. The next one on my list, number 15 overall for May the 16th, is The Time Has Come by Will Leitch. He is the author of How Lucky, which I have not heard of. This book comes from Harper, and it's 304 pages. Here's the synopsis. Lindbergh's Pharmacy is an Athens, Georgia institution, the type of beloved mom and pop shop that once dotted every American town, but has mostly disappeared. But Lindbergh's has recently become the object of attention of a local third-grade teacher, Tina Lamb, Ms. Lamb to my students. Tina is certain something very, very bad is happening behind its famous black door, and she intends to do something about it. Her suspicions and the drastic actions she plans are the unlikely glue that will connect her to a group of 6 employees and customers inside the pharmacy one hot Georgia evening. They include Theo, the Lindbergh scion with a secret of his own, Daphne, a nurse and Army veteran struggling with her faith, Jason, a local contractor uncertain how to deal with his gifted teenage son, Carson, a young lawyer and activist wrestling with a job offer that makes him uncomfortable, David, an Athens music scene lifer whose sobriety has been sorely tested by isolation, and Dorothy, a widow just beginning to regain her bearings. The fates of these individuals and their fateful encounter with Tina Lamb become intertwined in a story that is by turns funny, touching, and tense. As he did in How Lucky, Will Leitch illuminates how we live today through a story of human beings struggling to do their best. And again, this is another story where people aren't perfect. You know, you're hearing about these 7 characters and all their flaws and all their troubles, and what's going to happen when they get, to this Lindbergh's Pharmacy and are sort of stuck together. How are they going to interact? How is all this drama going to unfold? And what's the mystery? What is it that this teacher, Ms. Lamb, thinks is happening in this pharmacy, and what really is going to happen? So I'm intrigued. I also love, as you've heard me say before, the idea that this takes place in one night. I love when an author has that condensed timeline and has to, tell a story that is rapid fire and really focused in on a single day. So that is also attractive to me. So that is The Time Has Come by Will Leitch. The next one, number 16, is A Renaissance of Our Own by Rachel E. Cargle. It's a memoir and manifesto on reimagining. That's what the subtitle says. And this picture here, she's got paint stripes across her face, almost in a rainbow. So I don't know if this has something to do with LGBTQ plus or not, but it's a powerful picture. And I am curious about what the paint means. So A Renaissance of Our Own, Ballantine Books, 256 pages. Here's the synopsis. A deeply personal and illuminating approach to anti-racism and allyship, revealing the power of imagination and action to dismantle oppressive systems and build liberating ones, from a highly lauded lecturer, public academic, writer, and activist. In Beyond Love and Light, Rachel Cargle details the seminal event that put her on the map, her viral 2017 Women's March appearance that thrust her into the national conversation on feminism and allyship, and how she soon woke up to the fallacies of a movement she had believed in. Discovering and unpacking the whitewashed lies she'd been fed about intersectional solidarity, Cargle's awakening, although painful and seismic, gifted her the opportunity to see the world through a new lens. Now, Cargle shares her journey, depicting a framework for allyship and beyond that she developed along the way. In creating KEA, knowledge, empathy, action, or as she calls them, from the head to the heart to the feet, Cargle learned to craft a world independent of oppressive constructs that allowed her to critically examine her surroundings. Alongside KEA, she established a set of intentional values based on an individual's sense of purpose, known as higher values, and through the combination of these tools, reimagined her approach to the personal, societal, and structural components of life that are often stifled. She provides the same tools and prompts that she used to unearth and align her own values, so anyone can wield them, and ultimately identify the structures and mindsets that hold them back and learn to move forward. Beyond Love and Light serves as a reminder for the power of reimagining as an engine for critical learning, radical empathizing, and intentional action. Now, what I'm noticing here is that the synopsis mentions twice Beyond Love and Light as the title of the book, and I thought they were referring to a previous book she had written, but at the end, again, they mention Beyond Love and Light, but the title of the book on the cover that I'm looking at says A Renaissance of Our Own. So it sounds like they might be in a transition with title on the book. So it may be called A Renaissance of Our Own. It may be called Beyond Love and Light. But basically, it sounds like Rachel Cargle is questioning intersectionalism. The idea that feminism, well, one part of intersectionalism, the idea that feminism really crosses racial boundaries, and the idea that that's not true, that there are real gaps in what we as feminists do for minorities and how we consider minorities as part of feminism. It sounds like that's what she's going to explore. I hope that's what she's going to explore, because I would love to learn more about that. But she also, it sounds like, has sort of examined her own personal belief system and determined how to best go forward with knowledge, empathy, and action, and is going to teach us how to do that in the way that she has. So nonfiction, memoir, bit of a learning book as well. So I'm excited about it, even though I'm not clear on what the title is going to be. Number 17 on my list of 18 over the past 2 days is called Uncle of the Year by Andrew Rannells. It says Uncle of the Year and Other Debatable Triumphs. And here's the blurb. This is the funny, honest, cozy hang with Andrew Rannells that you've been creepily dreaming of. A delight. And that quote is from Tina Fey, whom I love. So I'm hoping that her endorsement is a good sign. The book is published by Crown, and it's 272 pages. Here is the synopsis. Candid, hilarious essays from the star of the Book of Mormon, Girls, and Big Mouth on anxiety, ambition, and the uncertain path to adulthood, which ask, how will we know when we get there? In Uncle of the Year, Andrew Rannells wonders if he, now in his early 40s, has everything he's supposed to need to be a true adult, a career, property, a well-tailored suit. Why does he still feel like an anxious 20-year-old climbing his way towards security? Is it because he hasn't won a Tony or found a husband or had a child? And what if he doesn't want those things? A husband and a child, that is. He wants a Tony. In essays drawn from his life and career, Rannells argues that we all pretend we are constantly winning. And with each success, we act like we've reached the pinnacle of happiness for our parents, maturity for our friends, success for our bosses, and devotion for our partners. But if adulting is just a pantomime that's leaving us unmoored, then we need new markers of time, new milestones, new expectations of what adulthood is and can be. Along the way, Rannells looks back, reevaluating whether his triumphs were actually failures and his failures triumphs, and exploring what it will take to ever feel like he has enough. In essays like Uncle of the Year, he explores the role that children play in his life, as a man who never thought having kids was necessary or even possible, until his siblings have kids and he falls in love with a man with 2 of his own. It's an honor to be eligible reveals the thrills and absurdities of the awards circuit and the desire to be recognized for your work. And in Horses, Not Zebras, he shares the piece of wisdom that helped him finally come to terms with crippling anxiety and perfectionism. Filled with witty and honest insights and observations and a sharp sense of humor, Uncle of the Year challenges us to take a long look at who we're pretending to be, who we know we are, and who we want to become. So this reminds me a little bit of the Samantha Irby book we talked about yesterday, but it sounds a bit more serious. Samantha Irby's books are usually funny, but totally ridiculous. This sounds funny, also essays, but maybe not quite so far out there on the ridiculous scale. So I am anxious to read it. I love a good set of essays that you can dip in and out of, as I said yesterday about the Irby book. And I'm just excited to read about Andrew Rannells. So let's keep going. The last one on my list of May 16th releases, and really this has been a great list, is by Christina Lauren, and it is The True Love Experiment. She is the New York Times bestselling author of The Soulmate Equation and Something Wilder. This is published by Gallery Books. and it's 416 pages. The characters are River Pena, Felicity Fizzy Chen, Connor Prince, and Jess Davis Pena. Here's the synopsis. Sparks fly when a romance novelist and a documentary filmmaker join forces to craft the perfect Hollywood love story and take both of their careers to the next level, but only if they can keep the chemistry between them from taking the whole thing off script. Felicity Fizzy Chen is lost. Sure, she's got an incredible career as a beloved romance novelist with a slew of bestsellers under her belt, but when she's asked to give a commencement address, it hits her. She hasn't been practicing what she's preached. Fizzy hasn't ever really been in love. Lust? Definitely. But that swoon-worthy, can't stop thinking about him, all-encompassing feeling? Nope, nothing. What happens when the optimism she spent her career encouraging in readers starts to feel like a lie? Connor Prince, documentary filmmaker and single father, loves his work in large part because it allows him to live near his daughter. But when his profit-minded boss orders him to create a reality TV show, putting his job on the line, Connor is out of his element. Desperate to find his romantic lead, a chance run-in with an exasperated Fizzy offers Connor the perfect solution. What if he could show the queen of romance herself falling head over heels for all the world to see? Fizzy gives him a hard pass, unless he agrees to her list of demands. When he says yes, and production of the true love experiment begins, Connor wonders if that perfect match will ever be in the cue cards for him too. The True Love Experiment is the book fans have been waiting for ever since Fizzy's debut in the soulmate equation. But when the lights come on and all eyes are on her, it turns out the happily ever after Fizzy had all but given up on might lie just behind the camera. So I have not read the soulmate equation, and in this particular case, I would be willing to forego it. It almost sounds like this is separate enough that I could read the second book without reading the first, and I never do that. So this is a chance I would be willing to take. So it's The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. It does have a reality television flair to it, which I like a lot. I still watch Survivor after all these years. My husband jokes that I'll watch anything you can get voted off of. But this sounds interesting. It sounds like a good romance. It sounds like a smart romance, which sometimes I don't always get that feeling from romance novels. But I know a little bit about Christina Lauren, and I'm excited to read this book. So those are 9 books today, 18 books overall, published on May 16th, which was yesterday, that I am excited to tell you about. And I think you have to admit, it's a great list. Like, all of those books are right up my alley. So I'm really excited to dig in. I hope you are too. If you enjoyed this video, please click like and subscribe. It helps me a great deal to know what my viewers are enjoying so I can do more of that. I do also have a wish list at the bottom of the description of each video. If you would like to gift me with a book, I would love to read it, give it a review on the channel, and give you a big shout out and thank you. I will be coming back with single book reviews, with new release lists for the 23rd. So next Tuesday, I'll go through all the new releases that I'm excited about for that date. I have some bookstore tours and some surprises up my sleeve. I've also got a lot going on for June, as I am going to be in Japan for almost 2 weeks. And I'm going to tee up a whole bunch of videos for you for while I'm gone. I hope you're enjoying everything I've been able to present to you. Please keep coming back, and we will talk more bookish things again soon. Take care. Bye.